At the end of the 2016 school year, we sadly see the end of 130 years of continuous presence of Brigidine sisters on the college staff. From the first 4 brave Irish women who arrived in Echuca in 1886 until 2016, Brigidine sisters have not only made a remarkable contribution to education in the Echuca-Moama region, they have also had an enormous impact on the wider parish and local communities. The local Indigenous spirituality immediately struck a chord with their Irish Catholic spirituality, which also had a strong contact with the land and its sustainability. Having come from a country that in the not too distant past had repressed Catholics, they immediately made inclusiveness a hallmark of their schools by enrolling students of all faiths and backgrounds. This video is a tribute to all those Brigidine sisters who have worked in the Echuca-Moama region over the last 130 years. Whilst ably supported along the way by many lay people, it is their witness that has inspired countless people to recognise lives that are lived with strength and kindliness.
In the story of Brigidine education in Echuca for 130 years, it is very clear that Irish and Australian history are closely linked. Throughout the 1800s, Irish Catholics were denied education, professional work, and any form of public service. The consequences were dire. In Australia, Catholic schools had been opened up in many localities, but in 1872, when the Education Act stated that no government money would be given to any church schools, the Catholic Church faced a huge dilemma. In desperation, Bishop Crane of Sandhurst, like many other bishops, approached religious orders in Ireland, including the Brigidine Sisters, who had been founded by Bishop Daniel Delaney in Tullow, County Carlow, in 1807. 4 volunteers were chosen from the Tullow community, and in February 1886 they arrived in Echuca. Hopwood House had been purchased for their residence. They were undaunted in their endeavours and dreams. The Eucharist and prayer were the centre of their daily lives, and by 1900 the beautiful chapel was built. Within days of their arrival, 2 of the sisters went to the already existing St Mary's School, and 2 opened the convent school, later to be known as St Joseph's, with 8 pupils, 7 girls and 1 boy. Religious education, the central focus of their work, has taken many forms over the years, including classroom teaching, retreats, religious education days, and class and year-level masses in the chapel. All around the college and at St Mary's Primary School, there are many reminders of our Catholic heritage: St Bridget crosses, the symbolism of the oak, and in recent times, staff pilgrimages to Ireland all help to immerse the school community in the spirit of our history. Time and educational developments may have changed many aspects of school life, but even after 130 years, fidelity to our Catholic heritage remains critical to the existence of Brigidine education in Echuca.
In 1886, the first Brigidine sisters came with a classical education and the Irish love of learning that had survived centuries of occupation and the penal laws that did much to attempt to diminish the high value that the Irish placed on education. The early Brigidines in Australia provided teacher training for the young women who joined them, before Catholic teachers' colleges even existed. During the 70s and 80s, the Brigidines provided the expertise of a resource team, which travelled from school to school, encouraging the by then growing numbers of lay teachers to develop curriculum that was relevant to the huge social changes and the growing awareness of a lack of social justice occurring in our society. As lay teachers brought a wide awareness of the need for social change, the Brigidines were ever open to and encouraging of the curriculum adjustments these changes indicated. And despite the lack of published resources to guide them, teachers from the 70s on embarked on the dissemination of knowledge of pre-1788 Australian history. Local Aboriginal people were invited in to tell their stories, and the need for us all to contribute to and understand our growing multicultural society were 2 of the initiatives encouraged by the Brigidines. Over the last 130 years, the Brigidines have certainly kept alive the Irish love of learning. But more than that, they've empowered those who worked with them to inspire hope in their students' futures by preparing them well to meet society's changing demands. The Brigidines over the last 130 years are to be commended for producing thinking, responsive and academically successful young people, and so increasing the potential of these young people to lead fulfilled and contributing lives.
The establishment of a boarding school in 1886 provided Catholic education for the daughters of many rural families, even though this would mean extra work for the homemaking sisters who provided meals and housekeeping, and for those who supervised up to 70 boarders after teaching all day. Tuition and boarding fees were kept to a minimum, as sisters were aware that many families were struggling financially, especially during recessions, droughts and times of war. Fees were often waived for those in special needs, and this continues today. The lay teachers who joined the staff of St Joseph's and St Mary's in their early years, when there was little money for salaries, had the same selfless spirit of generosity and commitment to Catholic education as the Brigidines. As the sisters themselves moved from being seminary enclosed to becoming more immersed in the local community, they and their students grappled with unjust social conditions. For many years in the 20th century, Young Catholic Students was a Christian movement encouraging young people to see, judge and act on injustices in our local and global world, including environmental and sustainability issues. Later, actively supporting Caritas, and most recently reached out to the people of East Timor and Berowra. These outreach programs are based on the just living principles of Caritas Australia and Brigidine core values. Students look at the world through the eyes of those who struggle to have the basics in life, promoting the dream of a full life for those we call the poor, which can only be realised if we pay our part, if we take up the mission that our unique gifts and talents have prepared us for. Solidarity through the returning emergence each year have built relationships that have impacted on these communities and our students alike. Students realise the call to share their resource, and they want to make the world a much more just place. Fundraising to empower the people of Timor has allowed communities to build health, nutrition and education programs. Through the model of Brigidine service, students across all year levels can serve the community through social justice groups and through outreach embedded in the curriculum.
St Bridget of Kildare is renowned as a woman of hospitality, a peacemaker, and had a deep care for all of creation. She founded a monastery in Kildare where learning was prized and all were welcome, especially the most vulnerable. Caroline Chisholm was one of the heroines of early Australian settlement, assisting unemployed women and all those who struggled to build stable, loving and prosperous homes in a harsh environment. Bishop Daniel Delaney was a fearless teacher in penal times in Ireland and established the Brigidine Sisters to continue the work of education. He was a creative and passionate pastor of all the people in his care. Sister Benedict Moore was one of the founding sisters who came to Echuca in 1886. She loved teaching young children in the parish school and had a warm, generous spirit. She was willing to go to new places and establish schools where they were needed. Pastor Doug Nichols was a Yorta Yorta elder and worked tirelessly to make Australia a better place for Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal Australians. He was characterised by his visionary leadership and his kindness. St Patrick brought the Christian faith to Ireland. He was a person who personified peace, love, resilience and compassion. He was a strong advocate against violence. The students in each house are encouraged to adopt the positive traits that their house patron possessed and to work in supporting a charity that reflects their compassion and their work for justice.
The generosity of St Bridget was embodied through the faith, hospitality and charity the sisters extended to their new community in Echuca. Though there were few amenities and very little money available to the sisters for many years after the foundation of St Joseph's, they still managed to support those in need. Their own vulnerability and isolation contributed to their appreciation of the struggles facing many families in their community. Through drought, war and recession, the nuns were a beacon of strength and kindliness. From the beginning, all were welcome in the two Brigidine schools in Echuca, along with Catholic boys and girls, children of other denominations and families across all social strata in the community were gladly received. This welcome has transcended generations as Echuca has transformed from an historic port town in the 1800s to a modern rural city of the 21st century. Students with special educational needs have always been accommodated at St Mary's and St Joseph's. The recent addition of the Kildara Centre offers an inclusive learning environment where student diversity is nurtured and supported. St Joseph's College also provides quality and meaningful education for Koori students, where they engage fully in their schooling years, whilst maintaining enriching cultural connections with the Indigenous community. Our Koori educators create a supportive learning environment for students that acknowledges, maintains and respects Indigenous values and traditions. The sisters and lay staff of St Joseph's have kept the lamp of learning burning from the past to the present to illuminate peaceful, inclusive and productive educational communities. As Daniel Delaney so wisely professed, from every seed sown and cultivated by love, we shall reap a rich harvest.
Celebration has always been integral to Brigidine life. From their earliest days in Echuca, key moments in the church year were celebrated by the sisters and students. When sisters reached their golden jubilees or leadership teams visited from overseas, Brigidines travelled great distances across the state to celebrate a special moment in their story. Even in death, sadness was tempered with the gratitude for a life well lived. Mother Borgia, who died just 4 years after founding the Echuca community and school, was attended by 500 at her funeral, indicating a great respect for her and the small community facing life without their leader. Also, ex-students come back to the school for reunions, which re-establish the links of the past and celebrate their contribution to the history of the school. From the beginning, students were acknowledged with prizes for their excellent work and activity. A celebration of achievement and excellence continues to the present on the award night, where not only academic excellence is acknowledged, but also the outstanding contributions of students in all aspects of the school community life. The sisters have always supported and encouraged the creative arts. As early as the 28th of December 1886, a music and drama performance was prepared with the first students, a celebration of the first year of convent school. The sisters were responsible for teaching a range of musical instruments, and they also provided classes in drama, dance and choral work. From the 1930s, as numbers in the school increased, lay teachers were employed to teach boys and girls physical education and ballroom dancing. Over the years, successive principals continued to be strong advocates of the holistic education which encompassed art, drama, music, foods, textiles, wood, ceramics, photography, metalwork and graphics, thus allowing the diverse creative skills of students to be refined and celebrated. Through the 90s and early 2000s, the school band morphed into a jazz band, various ensembles and the concert big band, which toured in Victoria and South Australia. The annual celebration of Founders Day has provided yet another opportunity for the St Joseph's community to celebrate all that is good with joy and gratitude.
I trust that you will find yourself inspired by the courage of those Irish women who travelled around the world in the mid to late 19th century to found St Joseph's College, and the courageous contributions of each sister since. The congregations of the Brigidine and Presentation Sisters continue to display similar courage today as they form a new body called Kildare Ministries. Kildare Ministries will involve lay people even more in the sisters' ministry and ensure the continuation of the spirit of the congregations founded by Bishop Daniel Delaney and Nan O'Nagle.
We are the trustees of Kildare Ministries, and we're responsible for nurturing and supporting the education of schools in Kildare Ministries such as St Joseph's Echuca. We're here today to congratulate you on 130 years of Brigidine tradition when the school was commenced that many years ago. The sisters have left an amazing legacy.
Thank you, Brigidine sisters, for all that you have been for St Joseph's College and the wider Echuca-Moama region since 1886. I can assure you of the fullest commitment of the lay people now responsible for taking that ministry forwards at St Joseph's College, a Kildare Ministries Catholic secondary college in the Brigidine tradition. God bless.